Welcome back, Knuckleheads. I'm Lupine Fiasco, this is Daily Fab Gameplay, and today we're going to spend some time updating Kayo for the early Rosetta meta. I think he's well positioned in the format, but there isn't any way to know for sure without plenty of reps. As always, subscribe to me on YouTube or follow me on Twitter to make sure you're seeing my most recent content as soon as it releases. The team over at talishar.net has been working diligently to implement the entirety of Rosetta, and I truly appreciate everything that they do. The entire set has been added by now, and I can start recording games again. So look forward to the return of daily gameplay reviews next week. I'm most excited to start iterating with Aurora, and I already have a lot of thoughts of how I'll change my deck tech from earlier this week, but that has nothing to do with any perceived weakness of Kayo. On the contrary, based purely on vibes alone, I would say he is in his best spot since heavy hitters. Zen is still very much alive, but has powered down quite a bit, opening the door for Kayo to reestablish himself as the disruptive aggro deck. While he isn't as fast as Dash.io or as explosive as Levia, he brings a consistency otherwise lacking in both of those heroes. His fridge is immense, his setup potential is strong, and it's difficult for him to lose to fatigue or his own deck. In terms of raw value and consistency, Kayo is king, at least until Ira arrives in November. Rosetta heroes may present some new challenges for him to overcome, but I believe he's equipped to face them, at least for now. To approach the new meta, I want to return to an old one, immediate post heavy. If you check my public lists version history, you'll see that this new iteration is nearly identical to what I brought to you as Nationals. Although Nationals Week 1 Zen was unaffected by any bans, many lists at the time were suboptimal. Zephyr Needles were largely ignored, 9 copies of Bond of Ancestry were clogging up aggressive lines, and many players were unaware of the power of Chase the Tail and Aspect of Tiger Body. In short, his average power level was low enough that I'm theorizing it roughly equals his optimized post-ban power. If that's true, then mid-range Kayo should be able to compete with it. We have another reason to feel comfortable building for mid-range, which is that Nu should be somewhat less popular than she was in MST. She's strong, and still the best disruptive hero overall, but much of her appeal was based on her favorable Zen matchup. Brute and Enigma were 2 of the big winners from September's ban, and without Zen boxing them out of the format, Nu looks a lot weaker overall. If Nu isn't around to punish us for building a deck that feels comfortable blocking for value, then that's what I want to get back to. The agility package of Runner, Clash of Agility, and Yellow Agile Windup is, in my opinion, a big draw of Kayo. The flexibility to block or attack based on game state, all while setting up for a big next turn, pushes him above many aggro decks that can only press the gas, and many mid-range decks that can only react. The agility package wasn't viable against a tuned Zen deck because we never had time to set up. Getting immediate value from our cards meant converting full grips every turn with Yellow Bear Fangs and Pulping, or trying to push Disruption over 7 points of armor block with Yellow Clash of Might. If I'm correct in thinking that the speed of an aggro mirror will drop by 2 or 3 turns, then blocking with a Clash of Agility, banking Agility with Runner, and setting up the 5-card Blood Rush will be a reliable win condition. Against grindier decks like Riptide, winning your Clash of Agility has the benefit of letting us attack with Go Again before playing Cast Bones from a 3-card hand. Yellow Agile Windup is a question mark. I personally love the card, but I can't deny that a higher blue count would add consistency to our line of Wild Ride or Pulping, Mandible Claw 2 for 6, while also increasing our average block value. Smaller Nu representation punishes us less for playing more blues, and missed Mandible Claws can add up over the course of the game. To Yellow Windup's credit, 3 extra discard effects increase our ability to attack with Mandible Claw, then give it Go Again in the resolution step, or attack with Enlightened Strike or a disruptive 2 for 6 or Send Packing, and discard Windup to make that Might and Agility. As you can tell, I'm trending mid-range with this build. We alternate big and small turns by setting up Agility and get paid off with Bear Fangs, Blood Rush Bellow, Savage Sash, and Cast Bones. I believe this is what Kayo does best. He sustains better than most aggro decks, but has a much higher ceiling than any mid-range deck. The one change I'm making to my Nationals build is to cut Spellfray Gloves to make room for beaten trackers. This might be wrong because Kayo is still out there and can hurt you, but I want to get trackers into the list for Prism and Enigma. Breaking trackers on a Bloodrush turn completely negates a single Arclight Sentinel, and Prism's loss of Tome of Divinity in September means that she's unlikely to be able to play a second outside of some extreme high rolls. Against Enigma, trackers lets you go 3 attack actions wide with a 5-card hand off of any draw discard effect, and I believe is crucial for clearing the board after Enigma lands her first manifestations of Miragai. Between trackers, Bloodrush, and Sash, we should be able to keep her board clear enough that we won't get overrun. I suspect that it will be important to have multiple go-wide tools available on board to deal with her. Looking forward to Rosetta heroes, I have some tentative ideas on what to expect. Aurora should be the most straightforward. She'll be racing us, but without the same fridge that Zen has, so a disruptive 2-for-6 with Might will take cards away from her. Acilio is touted to be faster than Aurora, but is much less durable, and therefore more vulnerable to disruption. Where I think we'll get points into him that we wouldn't into Kayo is in the armor. Because the massive damage combos we see online rely on physical damage, cards in hand, and playing at action speed, Fleshbag interacts positively with all of them. Based on what I've seen and until I know more, my guess is that we'll play AB0 into Aurora. Any value that we would gain by pitching to Arcane Barrier will instead come from blocking attacks. We do get got by Channel Lightning Valley and Sigil of Suffering, but that may be a price we need to pay. Acilio is trickier because the value of AB3 goes up with the number of surge effects in his deck, but pitching a blue to a massive Mind Warp for 15 after the combo turn isn't going to help us. If Acilio is surging for 1 or 2 most of the time, I would want Skullhorn to reduce the damage being dealt by surge attacks to their base. However, if the only time he ever surges me is on the combo turn, then I'd rather have armor block value and defensive intimidate. Moving on to Earth. From the early lists I've seen, Florian is shaping up to be Earth Guardian, and Verdance to be Earth Icelander. If Florian is attempting to ramp into value plus disruption, we could try to race him by taking advantage of his lack of hero text for the first several turns of the game. Alternatively, boarding in Cast Bones to take advantage of potential lack of pressure, plus the benefit of denying him the ability to filter Earth cards into his graveyard for a turn, has historically been correct against grindy value decks. He's another hero against whom I would bring AB0 because I can get my damage mitigation by blocking his attacks. My understanding of Verdance is that she'll similarly play for value and disruption, relying on cards like Felling of the Crown and Plow Under to slow and whittle us down into kill range for a Storm Strider's empowered arcane spell. I do think that this will be a race and we won't want Cast Bones, as applying pressure should hopefully prevent Verdance from taking full advantage of her various amp and surge effects. I'm very excited for Verdance players to correct me in the comments because this one's much less clear to me. Kayo looks to be excellently positioned heading into Rosetta, and we'll only get a better idea of what changes to make as the meta develops. If things truly have slowed down in the wake of the September bans, then I think I'm on the right track. If not, we'll adapt as always. I'll be focused on Aurora, but we'll be watching Kayo, and I'm excited to see how he performs at events. Let me know on YouTube or Twitter how he's working for you, and good luck in your pre-releases this weekend. I'll be attending at least 2, if not 3, and we'll put a little report together for next week. I hope your polls are solid and that we all get some good experience playing with and against the new heroes. I'll be back soon with the gameplay reviews you crave, but until then, or the next time I see you on Daily Fab Gameplay, take care.